Hey, so it's 2582 coming back at you with another video, and today is going to be kind of an interesting video to make. Now, of course, I have not done one on what happened to Scott Dixon, of course. Um, yeah, so he is actually going to be leaving Chip Ganassi Racing at the end of 2025, or 2025, the end of the 2026 IndyCar Series season, which I did not see this in the cards. I don't think any of us really saw this in the cards because he's been with this team for over 25 years and now he is parting ways. So, because of that, I ended up buying two diecasts that for some reason I did not own from Scott Dixon. They're kind of both from the same years, but they're actually different manufacturers. Um, and I do have one that kind of looks similar, but today I just wanted to show off my little Scott Dixon collection that I own and some of the stuff I have here, like his autographed trading card. I got at the first time I went to the Long Beach Grand Prix in 2023. I got to meet him there, and I got to see him sign the sticker, or not the sticker, but he signed the trading card for me along with the other Chip Ganassi racing drivers at that time. And he also signed my hat that I wore that day as well, which is very cool. And of course, I have that sticker because I actually got to meet him and the entire team at my workplace. So, never forget that moment just taking a photo with him. It's insane, but unfortunately, that might be the last time I will be able to see him there. But anywho, let's take a look at the diecast because not only do I want to show off my collection, but it's going to be kind of a comparison video with the Greenlight IndyCar diecast and the IXO model IndyCar diecast. Now, I have seen someone do a video on this. I have not watched it, so if I feel like I copied them, then I'm sorry, but I didn't realize it. But yeah, let's take a look at this because I actually do already own an IXO model cars Scott Dixon car, which is actually his 2025 car, which I did review a couple of like a month or two ago when I went to the 2026 Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach. I ended up picking this car up, and 2026 car is going to look very similar, but there is going to be a big difference because now they did upgrade it with the metal chassis, which I did review or found out about it in the 51st Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach program event car, or not program car, but like the event car, which I was like, my goodness, I ended up blazing that car because of how good they actually improved on it. But let's take a look and see the differences between the IXO cars now with year 2 and their final year with Greenlight having their own IndyCar diecast. So let's cut the video and I guess we'll take a look at the Greenlight car first up. Now, of course, when I first became a fan of IndyCar a couple of years ago, Greenlight was the producer of the diecast, and they have been for the past almost 2 decades, really, because they had started with them in maybe the mid 2000s with the IRL, and they kind of did some Champ Car stuff, aka that DP01 I have in the background. But then, yeah, they became the sole producer, and then there's some changes here and there with Hot Wheels and Auto World, but usually Greenlight was the consistent one. And then after the 2024 season, they left. I don't know if they left or didn't renew the licensing, and IXO models picked up the licensing, which of course very critical on them, of course, because how cheap their cars felt that year, and of course we'll get into that in a little bit. But yeah, this is Scott Dixon's 2024 car. Which I never picked up for whatever reason because I actually did like this livery a lot. But yeah, of course these look very cool, but unfortunately you can't really open them. You have to cut these things, unfortunately, which I did not like about them. But yeah, here's the diecast in the little plastic bubble there. Got the IndyCar logo, and it comes with a trading card, which is always a nice thing. And the back here, you have his bios and such if you want to read that. I'll take the trading card out of its box, of course, but yeah, take a look at the back of here. Of course, it came from that huge lot of NASCAR diecast I bought from Spoiler. Again, not sponsored by any means. Also with that IXO model car, I did buy it from them as well. But yeah, let me cut one more time to cut this car, or destroy the packaging to get this car out of its box. And there we go, we got the diecast out of its plastic packaging. Now, of course, it does come with the trading card. Not the best quality, of course. It's kind of like a very, not thin piece of cardboard paper, but it really is. Nice design on there, of course, with Scott Dixon text on there with number 9, which yeah, that's going to be up for debate now. And the nice design for PNC Bank, of course, his main sponsor for many years now. Of course, the NTT IndyCar Series logo and the New Zealand flag. And look at the back here. I'm not going to read all of it, but you could take a look at it and pause it. We're just going to have this in the background here. So I'm looking at it. We have a whole Scott Dixon thing going on. 9999 everywhere. But yeah, here is the Greenlight Scott Dixon diecast from 2024. Now, of course, this is looks a lot nicer than the 2022 car, which was actually my first Scott Dixon PNC Bank car I ended up getting. And I say getting because I did get it for my birthday. But look at the difference on that. The orange definitely pops a lot more on the newer one, which is this one, than that one. It looks like he got sunburned, which, yeah, it's not great. And it was the only Scott Dixon car I had up until that point. That was the PNC Bank car. So I'm very happy to have this one now. And it is a little bit more orangey, so I don't mind that. But anywho, yeah, very nice diecast. You know, these Greenlight diecasts, they were very nice. They were very nice, nice and heavy. You know, not the most durable thing of all time. Of course, people want to play with it. Of course, stuff would break, like the front wings or the rear wings. But other than that, it was still pretty respectable. Let's take a closer look at it here. So, of course, it is orange majority with the blue color on the side with the little PNC Bank gradients on there. So let's take a look at the front. So we got PNC Bank on the front wing, which is very cockeyed, as you could tell. I'm looking at it like normally like this, but of course the car's sideways, so that's very unfortunate. Then the Honda logo there, NTT IndyCar Series logo, the HRC Honda Racing logo, number 9, and PNC Bank. Of course, we've got a bunch of little contingency sponsors on there, like St. Jude Children's Research Hospital, which is very cool. And running on the Firestone tires with the chrome rims. We got PNC Bank on the side and PNC on the top of the side pod. We got the iconic Scott Dixon number 9 there. PNC Bank, powered by Honda. Of course, Shell, 100% renewable race fuel there. Got Richard Mille, Jiffy, HRC, and the entity pole position logo and Firestone, of course, rear Firestone tires. HRC on the rear wing, or the end of the rear wing here, which is very small, and PNC Bank on top of the rear wing. And we've got DHL and Journey rewards. And yeah, that's pretty much the entire thing. And of course the bottom here, it has a number on there, number 561. Of course they don't say how many they make, but that's the number I got. Of course metal base, matte black painted. Yeah, it just looks nice. Definitely brings me back when I first got IndyCar diecast from Greenlight. Now, of course, they weren't always perfect. You'd always get like little quality issues like that, or some other worse stuff. But you know, at least they were respectable. Unfortunately, the only thing that as you could tell, they only made it in the super speedway, or I guess you want to call it the Indy 500 specialty wings, which of course that was their only, I think was their only weakness with this car, or these diecasts from Greenlight. They never made road course wings except for 118 diecasts, which, you know, being an IndyCar fan, it's cool seeing these like this, but I really wanted road course wings back for something, although I think, but of course I guess I would understand why they wouldn't do it, because they would break, the road course wings would break off, but even then they still would break off like these. But anywho, this one is going to be kind of special because I did see Scott Dixon win in person at the 2024 Acura Grand Prix of Long Beach, which is the second time I would go. Because the first year, Pato and himself got tangled in turn 8, and I was really upset with Pato because he did not apologize at all. He didn't even show any sympathy about that, which kind of made me a Pato hater. But now that he's going to McLaren, it is very funny. Of course, I've gone over that. I've matured and such, you know. But even then, he still should have apologized for that. But even then, so yeah, Pato has definitely gotten a lot more mature nowadays. But you know, it's very funny how Scott Dixon and him and Felix Rosenqvist are going to be teammates. So Kind of weird because Pato used to be teammates with Felix Rosenquist. Same with Dixon. Dixon used to be teammates with Rosenquist at Chip Ganassi, and then now they're all coming together at McLaren, which very funny and ironic. But yeah, that is diecast number 1 out of the 2 I'm going to be showing off. First got Dixon, of course. Now this was the Greenlight diecast, and we're going to put that aside. And let's take a look at the new provider of IndyCar diecast, as this is the latest of one of their 2026 cars, the IXO models Scott Dixon car. Now, like I mentioned before at the beginning, I do own his 2025 car, which looks virtually the same. But of course, this is his swan song at Chip Ganassi, and you know what? How could I not get his 2026 car at least? And it is going to be very upgraded. So, different packaging than the one for last year. It's all orange, and they actually go well with the livery color. Of course, it's got Dixon's name, and Dixon is nicely chromed out there, which is very cool in the orange chrome. Chip Ganassi Racing. Of course, the diecast in there, and its own little collector box. And very nice. Look at that, number 9 on the side. Just normal, and then chrome on the side. Very cool. Of course, the NTT IndyCar, which is kind of the new NTT IndyCar Series logo. IXO model cars chromed out. And here is the back of the box here. Of course, IXO model cars, Chip Ganassi Racing, IndyCar Series, and huge bio on the back. You can pause and read that if you'd like. And all a bunch of legal mumbo jumbo. So this one, I still will cut the camera just to cut this car out of its box, but at least it won't be as painful as destroying the Greenlight packaging. So I guess that is a bonus point for IXO in this case. Alright, we got the collector's box out of the packaging, and we got the die cast, which feels a lot heavier than the one from last year. I can't wait to take a look at that close up. Before that, let's take a look at the collector's box that comes with it, which is very nice. It has the rendering of like what we see in the spotter guide, but they actually use the opposite side, so it points to the right instead of the left as they usually would, but they changed it last year. But whatever, looks very cool. Got a checkered pattern on there, very nice. The Chip Ganassi Racing logo. Got the chrome number 9 on the side, and on the other side it's just a normal orange with the blue and of course white outline number 9. I'm definitely going to miss that on track. Maybe it'll still run for next year, but we're still up to debate if it's still going to be the number 9 and still with PNC, or maybe PNC's movement to with him to Aero McLaren. That's a lot of unknowns there. And the other the back, it's basically the same. It's just now it's just inverted. Very nice, actually. Nothing on top, and of course legal mumbo jumbo. And before I forget, inside actually does have a plastic thing to actually hold your car in place. So yeah, it's basically the same as you'd get from the packaging, but it's a little bit bigger, so you could keep it in there and it won't roll all over the place. So that's very cool. But yeah, let me put that aside. You won't be able to see it, unfortunately, on the side there for now. And let's take a look at the main show, which is the diecast, of course. Now, already you could tell has road course wings, something that I have mentioned already that I said I wish Greenlight would do, and thankfully IXO definitely delivered on that. And unfortunately, in their first year, 2025, they really struggled. Now their diecast looked great. They're gonna look almost the same, really. So this is the 2025 car. This is the 2026 car. It looks very much the same. Hopefully I don't forget which one. Okay, maybe you could tell it different. Maybe the R logo there, Ridgeline, is not present on the new one. But anyways, they looked great and such. But man, did they feel cheap for the price they were asking for. And the quality was not up to par with what Greenlight had. Yeah, their quality really took a nosedive. And IXO for their first year, which is not good. Because like I said, the only benefits was the road course wings and such, but it felt so light. Plastic, and they said that it was a metal base, but really it was a plastic chassis. And like I said, the rear wings would actually break off, and something that I did mention for the Greenlight, why they didn't do it. Maybe that's what they feared. But thankfully for this year, they upgraded a lot of stuff. So it looks the same almost. It has the road course wings and such. There's still some little quality issues here and there, but first off, it is a metal base, and you can tell because it's shiny. Well, here it's a little matte, but yeah, metal painted black base. And the front wings may or may not actually break off anymore. They're definitely a lot more sturdier than this. You can kind of tell. Like, they didn't even feel like metal. It just felt like plastic. See, it's kind of bending there. It looks very thin. And same with the rear wing. It could also break off as well. While new ones, it would still break off, of course. Don't get me wrong. But at least it's a lot more solid, a lot more thicker. Yeah, and it doesn't really bend it doesn't even really bend as much as that one. And the rear wing is probably almost the same, but at least well, that one looks a little cockeyed, but whatever. So yeah, they still have some little quality issues to fix, but hopefully they will improve. And if they do, they'd actually might be better than Greenlight, and I'll say that right now. They actually might be better than Greenlight, just because it looks like an IndyCar I would see on any normal given weekend, with the road course wings. But anyways, let's get down to business with the sponsors. Of course, PNC Bank is the main sponsor. And we got Jiffy on the front, which is very fun. Honda, the new Honda logo, which is one of the differences on there. This one was still using the regular, normal Honda logo, while this one is using the new, ugly-looking logo. Yeah, I really don't like that logo. Of course, everything will look the same with PNC Bank, number 9. Nice wheels. Better tires, I'll be honest, because these the IXOs, they really make a really nice job of making it look accurate. The tire sizing and the widths and details and the depths. While this one looks like it's all one big size, and it's okay, but not as good as this. Of course, PNC Bank on there on the side, and on top PNC on the top of the thing. Okay, really can't think right now. We got OpenAI on the side, one of Chip Ganassi's sponsors. Number 9 with the onboard camera with the PNC logo on top. We got Richard Mille, Jiffy, HRC, the Entity Polar War logo, and Firestone. And we got number 9 on the rear wing, which, like I said, is a little cockeyed. We got the IndyCar hybrid attenuator, or the gearbox. We got PNC Bank on the rear wing there, and PNC Bank on top of the rear wing. We got DHL and Sunoco, which I really, really, really wish they would actually make a Kiffin Simpson Sunoco car. That is honestly one of the best liveries from this year. I just love it. And, of course, yeah, after that, it's just the basic, iconic PNC Bank Scott Dixon car we're used to seeing. Of course, as I mentioned, painted metal base on the bottom. Let's take a look and see if there's any other differences besides that Honda logo. Maybe some little sponsorship changes, but okay, so Jiffy is still there. HRC is gone from the front. So instead of Ridgeline, it's now Sunoco on the new one. This is the 2025 car, as I mentioned. PNC Bank, everything looks proper. And look at the side there. Oh, well, they did move the HRC logo on there, as opposed to here. Well, it's still there. Never mind. It's just a little bit bigger on the new one. Other than that, they look virtually the same. But if you want to pick up one of these, I would suggest getting the 2026 one if you like the heaviness feel of a diecast. I will say the orange does look just slightly off. Well, on camera, it definitely looks slightly off in this one, but looking at it from my eyes, they look almost the same, just a pinch darker than that, than the 2025 car. But whatever, I can't really complain on that. It's 2 different years, so yeah. But yeah, that was the Scott Dixon cars I wanted to show off, really. The Greenlight and the IXO cars from last year and this year, so 2025 and 2026. And of course, I wanted to use the excuse to kind of show off my little Scott Dixon collection. Let me show off some of the other ones before I go. As I did mention before, this is my 2022 car that I bought. Or not bought, got, because I got it for my birthday. I have it on there. And of course, if you want to go way back, well, not way back, but how I became a fan of him was because of this car. He drove the number 9 Target car for Chip Ganassi, and you could just tell how long ago it's been. Um, Now, of course, this is not the original one I bought, but this is another one that I found for cheap that also came with a Dario Franchitti, which is one of his best friends, which will be kind of sad that he won't be in the same team with Franchitti alongside, but at least he'll be with Tony Kanaan, I guess. I don't know. But yeah, this is really how I became a fan of Scott Dixon. He just drove a very cool looking Target car, and just the nostalgia factor is through the roof on that one. But yeah, I don't want to turn this into a side video. I just don't want to do that. But yeah, definitely gonna miss Scott Dixon, seeing him driving the number 9 car. That's like, I can't even imagine him driving another thing. This is like, if you thought Will Power moving to Andretti was already very weird and just out of the blue didn't happen, Scott Dixon moving out is. I thought he would have retired, but it's not my call to make. That's what he chose, and you know what? I wish him the absolute best of luck there. Not to say I won't follow him anymore. Of course, I still will be a fan of him, and I definitely will buy his diecast when it comes out, just to kind of show off that it's very different. And I guess one more thing is I also have his IMSA car. Well, he was a co-driver of the Cadillac, and I believe it was at Petit Le Mans, if I remember, with a bunch of other drivers too. And he was a co-driver in this beautiful Cadillac. So I'll just have it on here, because that was a Chip Ganassi racing car. And, you know, I could talk about the controversy he's been in just very recently about calling NASCAR really boring and such. All I gotta say is they both have their boring points. I'm blaming both series. I'm sorry. And NASCAR can get boring at times, and people are complaining that they want the races to be shorter. And IndyCar has getting more views, but at the same time, Alex Palou is winning half of the races, so I blame both sides on that. But you know, it's not my call to make. But yep, and I'm just running on. So that has been, I guess, my little comparison of the IXO and Greenlight Scott Dixon diecast, and also my little Scott Dixon, I guess, collection that I have. So yeah, if you enjoyed the video, please give it a like, subscribe, and I'll see you next time. Peace.